Hey all, welcome back to Motor Ramblings. I am Patrick, and today we're going to do a live stream. Supposed to be with Frank from One Old Man Riding, but he's not here yet. So for the moment, it's just me. If you're in the comments, please let me know. We can start asking some questions, and now we can start talking to Frank.
Why am I cut off?
Why are you cut off?
What the heck? I think I may have bumped my camera. I'm like,
Apparently.
it worked fine on my live. I'm going to blame yours.
Okay.
Oh, you've got us on vertical. That's why. We're not
Okay.
horizontal.
I don't know how to change that. Technical
It's fine.
difficulties.
If I get cut off, I don't care.
There
But
you
it was
go.
just a little weird. I'm like off the side.
Yep. And so,
Now, I'm going to go on Instagram because, I've been working since 6 o'clock this morning, but I thought you said 8.
well,
So when you were like,
I've been telling everybody 7.
wow.
Yep. So,
Like I said, I've been working a lot today. Holy shoot.
um, I see we have Buck Brown and Jack from the Bogey Biker in the comments. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how
Buck,
come
I
my
am not
chat has
using.
no comments?
Yep,
Here we go.
Buck, I am not
Because I'm in the
using
wrong one.
my phone. So I've got it on the computer. I'm using StreamYard, as you can see up in the corner, and I don't know how to change. Well, maybe I can do this. Is that a little better? I can see your light now.
Oh, so according to Instagram, hey all, tonight at PM EST. Not 8 at PST.
The at is over the. So, well, I'm glad you made it. And I had a few questions for you, but I also wanted the people that are in the chat, I'd really like them to ask some questions if they want and if they can think of something to ask.
All right, I can finally see chat. Hello, Bogey. Hello, Buck. Now I got to see if I trust. I know that Patrick got it wrong on Instagram, but did he get it wrong on YouTube too?
You're trying to prove that I'm losing my mind?
One of us is. I'd rather it was you.
I'm pretty sure I put 7 o'clock everywhere.
Maybe you did. Though, you didn't on Instagram.
But I didn't put 8 either.
No, you didn't. But in my defense, and looks a lot more like an 8
Well, I suppose that's true.
than it looks like
All right.
a
Before we get
7.
going, I see Jack is in there. Welcome, ADV Tech Moto. Jack actually mentioned to me not too long ago that he might consider an ADV bike. He lives down in Texas, and there's a lot of gravel roads, a lot of dirt roads, and stuff to travel. He's a little bit younger than us. What
That's
would
not
you
hard to do.
what would you recommend to someone just starting out? He actually hasn't been riding motorcycles for very long, maybe 3 years.
Oh,
What would
that's
you
easy then.
recommend for him to get for a first ADV bike?
A CRF 300 Rally.
Okay.
It's lightweight. All you need to do is put gas and oil in it, and it'll go anywhere you want to go. Literally, the only downside is that you're probably not going to take it on the highway, but most adventure bikes, you don't really want to go that far on the highway if you can help it,
Mhm.
without beefing up to the 450 to 500 pound ones.
Well, Jack, you'll have to jump in here and let us know what your plans are. But he lives in Texas, so there's probably a lot of longer pavement rides to get to where he's going.
Then it depends on budget. If you don't want to spend a lot, CF Moto just came out with the cheapest one that's really going to be highway friendly. But if you have a willingness to buy used, there are a lot of choices. I mean, at
Okay.
these days, for what a CF Moto at 6,500 out the door, once you add on the fees, you could probably get yourself a very nice V-Strom 650 with all the Farkles, or even a Tenere with some Farkles.
Hmm.
So
You
depends
see
on how
his
much you want to
you
spend.
see his comment there. He's 6'2", 250.
Well, here's something that I've always harp on. It doesn't matter how tall you are. How long's your inseam? That's all that matters.
Right.
There are 6'2" guys with 30-inch inseams, and they're not going to like a Tenere at all. And then there are 5'9" guys with a 33-inch inseam, and the Tenere is perfect for them.
Mm.
Height really isn't it.
What about suspension?
Honestly, you're going to have to buy new suspension for anything except for a 790 or 890R and maybe a Touareg. I mean, there are no other bikes that come with good suspension.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he said he definitely would want one to ride on both the highway and the off-road. I was thinking maybe even Africa Twin. He rides a road glide now, so he's used to a big bike.
Well, he's used to a big bike, but does he want his first time off of pavement on heavy gravel to be a big bike? I know I didn't,
No.
because my first bike to ride off road was a KLR 650. And while I love that, I went from a cruiser background where I was riding, 580 to 650-pound bikes. And I wasn't thinking the KLR 650 was heavy until I got in gravel the first time. And then I realized there's a huge difference in weight. Even at
Okay.
450 pounds, it was freaking heavy when I was in 6 inches of gravel heading over the handlebars.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on the roads he's going to ride too. If they're just kind of Forest Service
Yeah,
roads,
if it's
hard
packed,
pack.
if you're packed and you're never going to hit mud and you're never going to hit gravel, then I mean, the weight doesn't matter. An Africa Twin, V-Strom 1000 is a fantastic choice. They practically give those away.
Hmm. I see Robbie from Stiff Rides is here. Hey, Robbie.
Yeah, that's where I started, Robbie. I started the conversation saying just get a 300 rally. You can always decide if you want something else later. And the nice thing about a Honda or a Suzuki, you won't pay a lot for it used, and you'll probably get the exact same amount when you sell it because they kind of have a bottom and then you can buy them and sell them.
Hmm. And then Scott just popped in with what about the Pan Am? And I think the Pan Am's a great bike, but again, it's a heavy bike and it's an expensive bike, even now. And
That's a terrible combination too. It's
yeah,
one thing when you dump your V-Strom you paid $5,000 for. I don't know how I would get over dumping a $22,000 Pan Am. I
yeah,
love the Pan America. It's a sport bike with spoked wheels, but ooh, I
yeah,
can't even imagine what the tank on that must cost to replace.
right. And I had actually told Jack that I wouldn't go with something brand new and I wouldn't go with something expensive. One, figure out if you even want to do it. He may get on his first off road and say, "Nope, not for me."
I would
And if he
I would
does go and
definitely
he
think
drops it,
about a V-Strom.
mm, yeah, which would make me happy. I love my V-Strom, and I've dropped it
Yeah,
clean.
but the difference is you're now riding enough off-road where the V-Strom is starting to be just a wee bit heavy.
It is a bit heavy, but I've actually started thinking of it the other way around. That the more I ride it off road, the easier it becomes to handle, which is kind of like making it feel lighter.
That is confirmation bias. That's what that's called.
And I understand that, but I also I don't want to change out right now. I love that bike and I have fun on it. It does what I want to do. Now, if I were going to start doing Chattahoochee BDRXs every other weekend or something, yeah, I'd have to think about something else.
You know what we should do? We need to find a day and we need to go ride off pavement doing the same hills up and down where you ride them on copper, and then you ride them on my bike that's over 100 pounds lighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do that a couple of times and feel a level of comfort that you get when the bike is light. It doesn't matter how much you love your bike. Like when I was at Palmetto, I rode my bike through the sand 3, 4 times, riding through the sand pit, up the hills, having fun. Then I took Matt from TS Motos in better shape, 390, once through the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doc says, take my DR 650. It was night and day. It was
Yeah.
just so much better. I am as comfortable on that 390 Adventure as I've ever been on any motorcycle. But by dropping that weight and getting on his bike, it was just magical. And I expect you'll experience the same thing if you were to go and lose 50 plus pounds to 100 pounds. It's not that I don't love my bike, it's just when you're riding in anything other than pavement, you feel every pound. They're real pounds.
I, I had the DR 650 and I just didn't use it enough to warrant keeping it. And I did a lot of longer highway rides.
And I don't understand that because you're surrounded, at least the western part of where you live is nothing but forests and parks. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you'd have to drag me out of those forests.
Yeah.
As much as I do enjoy some road riding, it's like all those peaceful, beautiful mountains just sitting next to you. If I had a DR 650, I would spend a significant amount of time in.
Well, I think one of the problems was at that time it was my only bike, and I was just starting to travel on pavement as well, and it was just, you know 1700 miles in a few days, and that bike just was not going to cut it, so I went with the V-Strom.
Yeah, I can see a dual sport is not the best single bike solution. Absolutely.
Hmm.
But say if you were to own a Goldwing, it's probably the ideal second bike solution.
You're probably right, and maybe eventually I'll do that, but at the moment, yeah, I'm still happy with the V-Strom. Do you see John from Road Realities in there? Hey, John.
80,000 miles on one motorcycle. Are they all your miles? That's incredible.
Who did that? Oh,
Stiff
Robbie.
rides.
Yep. Yep.
Scott says
Um,
the one true answer for off-road riding, the TW200. You ever seen Mayo Moto? Look
oh
up
yeah.
Mayo Moto sometime. He is about 6'3", about 260 pounds, and he bought a TW200, and he's going to ride up the Mabder and up the Northeast BDR on a TW200. It's going to be hysterical. I can't wait to see it.
That will be something to see.
I've never seen anybody actually ride those anywhere. I've been seeing them since I was a teenager, but it was always a woods bike. It was always, someone had it in their yard and they would use it to get to someone else's yard by using the woods. I never
Right.
actually saw somebody say, I'm going to go somewhere on this 200cc 12 horsepower motorcycle.
I have a buddy of mine who went from Florida to Alaska on a 250, and he loved it. He had a blast with it. But he also all back roads. He didn't get on the highway at all. He was retired at the time. He just took his time and spent months on the road with that thing. Mm.
I think that if I was ever looking at not even Alaska, like if I decided I was going out to visit my friends in Washington, I wouldn't even consider a 250. I know people can do it, but I'd just be like, no, it's just too many miles on something that's that lightweight and vibey.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I've got the Goldwing now. I've no desire to take anything else on a really long trip.
Well, you need a sport, but or excuse me, you need a sport bike so that you can support Mitchell on his way out.
Yeah, I want to be able to stand up straight after a day of riding. Hey, Goofy, I know you got plans tonight. Send happy birthday to the spouse, and I hope you have a good night. So, I wanted to ask you, what is the favorite bike you've ever owned?
Well, I'd have to break that into on the road and off the road.
Okay.
So on the road, my favorite bike would be my 2001 FZ1
Okay.
because while I wouldn't necessarily ride it anywhere near as fast as it could go, it was wonderful to just you'd be on the highway and if someone was merging into you with the slightest of twist, you would go from 45 miles an hour and someone's trying to merge into me to 100 miles an hour and passing. And I never felt more safe on the highway than on that bike. It was the best thing on the road because if anybody was doing anything, including group rides where you don't feel comfortable with that bike, I could just twist it and literally be gone. Like
Mm-hmm.
hooligan speed out of the way. And despite being a large bike, it was so nimble that if somebody slammed on their brakes in front of me, I could just go around it like a Tron light cycle. It was just an
Going 80s right there.
amazing bike.
Hmm.
But it wasn't that good around doing 6,000 RPMs to do anything at all. And
Okay.
off road, probably my 250L, because as long as I didn't have to go on the road anywhere, it was super light, had all the power you would ever want. And because it was a Honda, I didn't even really change the oil that often. I mean, at one point, I
Right.
didn't change the oil for 3 years on that motorcycle, and it didn't care at all.
Hmm. Now, Rob's here. He says he thinks that thing probably sounded great.
Parallel camper, Rob, how are you, man?
Yep.
You know, Rob, Suzuki inline fours are my second favorite, but to this day, I haven't owned the bike in 2 years. I can still hear a Yamaha inline four and know it's a Yamaha.
Hmm.
Just they did such a nice job on them.
Nice. Nice. This America on two wheels, Chris and Annie, they just moved to an area very close to here, which hopefully you'll get to meet him sometime. He rides a Pan America now. He wants to start exploring some of these roads out here as well. He came from the middle of the state, but he's been around from New Hampshire. And I just met him and his wife Annie for the first time last night. Great people, had a blast, and can't wait to go off and do some riding with them.
New Hampshire is a nice place to ride. I mean, not necessarily off road because the off road is like in the middle of absolute nowhere, but my buddy lives around Lake Winnipesaukee and it's kind of like North Carolina. You can just ride around and everything's beautiful around you.
Yep. I lived very close to Winnipesaukee, and so did Chris at some point in time, too. I worked in Laconia. I could see Lake Winnipesaukee from where I worked.
Nice.
So, all
I've
right,
spent
what's the
many
worst?
hours cruising on a boat on Lake Winnipesaukee. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. All right, what's the worst bike you've ever owned?
My KTM 790 Adventure.
I had a
It's
feeling you were
broken.
going there.
That bike is broken down more than every other bike I've had combined. I've
Hmm,
literally never taken a bike to a shop because something was wrong. And I've owned a lot of bikes. I mean, at
right.
one point, I owned 5 at a time.
Hmm,
I've never had anything break that had to go to a shop before that bike. So it's definitely the worst. Absolutely.
okay. If you have to replace that and you don't go KTM, what will you go with?
Oh, a Touareg 660.
Okay.
If somebody approached me and said, I will buy your lemon off of you, I would then go shopping for a Touareg.
Okay.
I've ridden 3 of them and they're just a really fun bike. Easier to touch the ground than any of the other mid-size, except for the V-Strom 800. That one's got a really low seat height. And while it's an Aprilia and maybe it's not going to be that reliable, it's going to be more reliable than my KTM.
Now, you haven't had that many problems with the 390 though.
Hey, Obi-Wan. No, but
Obi,
that is not a KTM in the traditional sense. That is designed and manufactured by Bajaj in India.
okay,
It's a badge. It's a KTM badge stuck on it, and I imagine that's why it's reliable.
okay. So, would you buy another KTM if you lost both of these, or would you strictly the Bajaj?
Strictly the Bajaj. I can't see myself buying a KTM because I've been burned. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get on your motorcycle and you don't want to be thinking, I wonder if this is going to make it where I'm going today. And I'm not the only person that when they get on a KTM, I wonder if I'm going to get where I'm going today pops into your head. And I don't want that. I really don't.
I don't blame you. That would drive me nuts. Like you said, I want to have the confidence that I can hop on it and I can go where I'm planning on going.
I mean, the first time the KTM didn't work for me, I was 2,200 miles from home when it made it all the way out there. And the next morning I come out and no, didn't start. It's like,
That that would not be good. That would not be
no,
good.
it was
Hmm.
awful. I mean, it
Well,
wasn't a big deal. I lost like a half a day of riding through troubleshooting and things, but that's the KTM life. Oh, look, it has an electrical gremlin like every other KTM.
right. Um, what bikes do you currently own at the moment? Just those two?
I just own these two bikes. I
Okay.
am always looking at bikes, and I made an offer on a 1985 Goldwing today with 24,000 miles.
Wow.
And the response was he'd like a little more than I offered, but I can't look at it this weekend because the starter just failed. But it is a 1985. I can totally understand why he needs a starter in a 1985.
What color is it, just out of curiosity?
Gold.
Okay. Yeah, I had a maroon and my dad had a light blue. One of them was 84, one of them was 85.
Looking
And
at them, gold and gold with that ugly pinstriping seems to be the most common around here.
yeah,
I'm looking
okay.
within 100 miles of where I am, and 84, 85, 86, gold appears to be the color they had in the dealerships, and
Hmm,
either with or without the wavy pinstripes through it.
right. Hachui is in here. He is Matt. He is from Australia. Hey, Matt, welcome and thanks for coming by. That's awesome. Yeah, appreciate that. Uh, all right, Frank, I know you keep disappearing there. I'm assuming
I'm
you're getting
still
something to eat.
here.
um, you and I have plans. We're both going out to South Dakota. Obviously, you put an offer on a Goldwing today. I assume you're planning on riding something other than your KTMs out there because I know you're riding because you have a special reason to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I have ridden the 790 to South Dakota and back, and it was actually, aside from the part where it broke down, and aside from the part that a week later my Motaz Tractionator started to fall apart, which I don't blame the bike. That was Motaz tires occasionally fall apart. I
Hmm.
only learned that after putting 5,500 miles on it. But barring those two problems, it was a great bike to ride that far, which I was shocked by. It was
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful to ride across even the plain states. It was just fantastic. So if I need to, I will take the 790 Adventure, but I would certainly like to get an old touring bike just for this trip since I'm going with my daughter on her brand new Harley Davidson. I can't remember which model it is, but I figured I should probably try to go look for one. Plus, I've never had a touring bike and taken it on a trip. I
Right.
did own a Yamaha FJ 1300, which is a 1300cc touring bike by Yamaha. But while I had it, I never actually went anywhere worthy of a bike that big. So I think it would be nice to grab something inexpensive that I can ride out, ride back, and put on Facebook Marketplace.
Right. Something I've been trying to convince Mitchell to do. But Evil Rick is here, and he's saying if it's a 1985, it's probably an SE, and they are fuel injected.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Oh, yes, they did start doing the primitive fuel injection in '85 a couple of years ago.
And Obi-Wan Hachui is Matt.
Who's mad?
I'm the Pat, the only Pat.
Good day.
Mm, yep. So anyway, um, we talked about this before, but some of these people probably weren't there. The whole South Dakota thing, you just mentioned you're going to be going out with your daughter. How did that all come about?
She talked to my wife, Jeanette, and said, "So what's this trip dad goes on?" And so she decided that maybe it would be a good idea for her. She didn't approach me first. She approached Jeanette.
Of course.
And then, of course, I said it would be wonderful. It'd be absolutely wonderful if she wanted to ride out. The only problem, of course, is the fact that she is a day rider. Now, she has since then made it to 400 miles in a day, but that was only one day. So there's going to be some adjustments, but she's still got several months to do it. And because she is on a big Harley bagger, she's not going to suffer that much. You know, she might not be mentally used to doing 400-mile days, but at least she won't, unlike Mitchell, be physically drained every day of riding. And that's
Right.
important because Timfest is so far away from us on the East Coast. It's not only can I do the long days to get to Timfest, it's
But
can I get all the way to South Dakota? Can I then ride for 5 days and then do that ride home all over?
yeah,
It is a lot of miles. It really is.
it is.
And even though the red Goldwing keeps us driving or riding very slowly while at Timfest, it's still the miles.
Right. Yep. Yep. I'm the slow one in the group. Yeah. Um, I do. I think about that with Mitchell, and I've tried and tried and tried to convince him. I think the only way I'm really going to convince him that he's going to be very uncomfortable is to get him on 2 or 3 400+ mile days in a row before we go. Um,
Here's the thing though, I was sending you tons of bikes that are inexpensive and would be good bikes in your area for Mitchell.
and I sent him right to him.
I've changed my mind though. If a man wants to ride his bike, I think you've done your due diligence. I think you've recommended with your experience what you think he should do, but he's a grown man. He loves his bike. He wants to make that trip on his bike. I would just let him
Yeah.
take the bike, and maybe he's right and he'll be fine. Maybe you're right and you'll laugh your ass off, but he'll have his adventure.
Yep.
Whereas if he were to say, you know what, maybe dad's right and I should do this, he could spend the next 15 years going, man, I wish I'd taken that trip on my bike I love so much.
Yep. Well, see,
So
my
at
thought
this point,
process
let
is
him have his fun.
hopefully this isn't going to be the last time he goes. And if it isn't,
There'll
then
never
maybe
be
he
a
can,
first time.
yeah, but
This is going to be his
first
most
time on a
special
comfortable
trip.
bike.
It's not about comfort though.
I
This
know.
is his first road trip
Yep.
on a bike he wants to take it on. You know, it's probably best to just let him take that
Well,
trip.
if all goes the way I think it might, when you get to South Dakota, you might be able to have Hollis have her own cabin because we might not make it there.
When's Patrick coming? Well, right now he's getting a U-Haul.
Yep.
And you know that, and there's another reason. Just let it go and let Mitchell ride that bike. You know what the worst case scenario is?
You turn around and go home.
After 2 days, Mitchell is going, oh, heck no, I am not doing this, Dad. You rent a truck, you pull that sport bike into the back of the truck, and Mitchell drives it.
Yep.
It's not like he's going to have to kill himself to make the trip.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a way you can get that thing into a U-Haul.
Yep. Well, and I have a big old pickup truck here. I've even told them, we could rent a trailer and bring both bikes if you really want to.
See, I
I'd rather
wouldn't
do it
do
on
that.
2 wheels.
I wouldn't recommend that. I would. It's his first road trip. It's his first road trip with his dad. If he takes his first trip across the country towing his bike, he'll regret that. He'll absolutely regret it.
Yep, I agree. I agree with that. So,
Anytime I've talked to somebody, like when I was buying the first time I ever went over over 1,800 miles was when I was flying into Portland to get a bike.
yeah,
And all of my friends knew that I'd never been anywhere near that kind of distance. I was looking it up and it's gonna be that's about 6,000 miles by the time I swing by Tim Fest and come home. And they're like, how the heck are you gonna do that? And what I said was, I'll find a way. And even if I hate it, 6 months later, I'm gonna say it was the best damn thing ever. Because even though I may suffer, whoops, someone's got his phone on.
Mhm.
Even though I may suffer, later on it'll be awesome. And I feel that Mitchell's going to have that experience. I think his back is going to be killing him when he gets home. But in 6 months, he's going to talk about riding that classic bike in those canyons. And I powered out there and I powered home, and my dad was with me. And no matter how much he suffers, it's going to be an awesome experience. And it's going to be a hell of a story, if nothing else.
It's going to be a
You rode a
memory.
what? Where? Yes,
Yep.
yes, I
It,
did. I
yep.
rode a inline four sport bike across the country, and then I rode it back.
Yep. Yep. I
Because
want to say
no
hi to
offense,
Jerry from Flat Cap Cafe Racer. He just jumped in. Hey, Jerry.
no offense to you and your Honda Civic, it was an incredible success that you took that ride. But at the end of the day, you took it in comfort. Whereas Mitchell's going to ride it the hard way. That man
Yep.
is going to put in every hard mile, leaned over on that sport bike, and it's going to be a story for the ages.
It is. I think part of the reason why am was concerned is because I want it to be great. I want it to be perfect. And as you well know, anybody rides an adventure bike knows the fun doesn't begin until the plans go awry. It's when things start going wrong that the adventure really begins.
Well, I think you need to ask yourself, you're asking too much. What's more important, perfect or great?
Mhm. Right.
Because I think that putting it on the truck could make it perfect. But not letting, sorry, he's a grown man, but if Mitchell chooses to ride his bike and he rides the absolute wrong bike to cross the country in, it's going to be great
Yep.
for everybody.
We can talk to Jerry, tell us about how that all went, Jerry, with the Royal Enfield 500. But yeah, I'm going to let Mitchell do his thing, let him choose the bike, and, we're going to have fun with it. And yeah, as Paul just said, being together no matter
Well, the
what
good thing about a
happens.
Royal Enfield 500 is the motor will last forever and it's weighted down to hold the ground. Mitchell's going to be riding a Honda sport bike. So every time the wind blows and Mitchell hits the throttle, the front end is just going to, he's going to be
Don't,
fighting to keep that bike down in a straight line
don't
because those
tell me
bikes
that.
are designed to hug the ground in corners. But when you go straight on a leader bike, the front just does this.
Thanks. Thanks. I really needed that. But like Paul said, no matter what happens, if we go part way and we turn around and come back, it's still going to be great. We're doing this together, and it's going to be a blast, no matter what we do, how we get there.
I still think that you are a man with a credit card. If you make it part way, rent a U-Haul and put Mitchell's bike in the back, put your bike in the back, go to
Hmm.
Walmart and buy $100 worth of straps and just go.
Yep, yep. So Obi-Wan's asking, does Mitchell like to do the off-roading? He does, but only in his four-wheel drive. He has no interest in an off-road bike, a dirt bike, ADV bike, nothing. At least not yet. He's half the age of the average ADV rider.
I was just going to say that Mitchell hasn't reached the marketing yet. Nobody's, he's too young for most of the purchases. You only
Right.
have two types of ADV riders: guys with gray hair and guys that rode dirt bikes as children. So
Hmm.
you take a road guy and he's 33, 34. That's not really ADV bike, not
Right.
really ADV bike age.
Yep. Yeah. He's 26 and he just got that 4x4 and he's been out on the same roads you and I rode on our bikes and he's just having an absolute
Awesome.
blast. So, that's his fun, but maybe it will lead to wanting to get an off-road bike. Maybe.
I don't know. A leader bike is pretty exciting. It'd be hard to switch to riding at 15 miles an hour.
It would. It would. And, you know, he does love that bike and he does love that speed. But, you know, we're just going to have to go with it and see what happens. Like you said, I'm just going to be there and hope that, we have a blast. And when things go wrong, hopefully I can, make them unwrong.
Just remember, don't laugh too hard.
Well, no,
When Mitchell crawls off the bike on day 3 and then collapses in the hotel room, just go outside and laugh your ass off, and then go inside and ask if he needs dinner.
well, no, 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 no. I'm going to tell him, stay where you are until I get the camera set up. Then you can do what you want to do. And look,
Hello,
we've
old guy
got,
on a bike.
yeah, from Canada.
Scott, he's young, but that bike is it's not a full sport bike. He doesn't lean like 70 degrees over, but from Patrick's videos, he leans a lot. That
He
is that
does.
is a long time he needs to really be careful and bend at the waist, or his back is going to hurt so badly even at 26.
Yep. Yep.
That bike was meant to go fast for a little while and then get off it.
I told him that with the positioning of the bike and everything, I hope he doesn't ever want to have kids because he just may not be able to. Uh, but real quick, I want to say, hey Jim, thank you so much for coming by. That's awesome. Great to see you here. He rides an old Goldwing.
I like the old Gold Wings. I mean,
Hmm.
anything that was released when I was in high school, I cannot think of a motorcycle that I don't have that warm nostalgia feeling of. I remember when that bike was cool. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But in my
Hmm.
memory, when I look at bikes from the 80s, they all look cool now. It's like, I remember that.
His is a 94. I thought his was actually an 80s version,
Oh my
but
God, that's practically new.
yeah, I had the 95. I had an 84, a 95, a 2010, and now the 2016.
Another bike I was looking at this week, Patrick?
What's that?
There is a guy selling a barn find. Was it the 1100?
Hmm.
The 1982.
Oh, wow.
He polished it. It looks great, but it doesn't run. So I would have to go and pick it up with a truck and a trailer. And I'm like, my truck's in Tennessee. And he said it ran when we put it in there 6 years ago. And I'm like, all you got to do is like replace all the fuel lines. It'll probably be fine. I don't think a
Probably.
Honda would seize.
Hmm. Yeah, that um beautiful bikes. Like I said, mine was an 84. I think my dad's was the 85 and yeah, loved them. Absolutely loved them. And of course I got hooked. And I was in my early 20s when I had that bike. And I still
That's
love the
surprising.
yeah, and I still love the Goldwing enough so that I kept buying them all along.
Obi-Wan had a Yamaha 175. That was the blue when Yamaha put the white squares after the name, right, Obi-Wan? I can practically picture that bike.
Uh, I had a friend of mine who had a 225 yellow, and yeah, I remember that bike very well. But how many bikes have you owned in your life?
Probably in the high teens. I don't think I've hit 20,
Okay.
but a lot of them don't really count because I didn't buy them to own them for any length of time. For like a 3-year period, I would buy a bike in the fall and then put it in my garage and then ride it for 5 or 6 thousand miles and then sell it in like late July or August. So I was buying it when everyone was putting them away so the prices fall down. Then I would have fun with it and then sell it. And I bought them for that reason. There were a
Okay.
lot of different cruisers I bought that the entire purpose was to just go have fun for 2 months and then sell it. And since I
Okay.
had a big garage, I could just put it in there, save $1,000 on the price, and with the exception of one, I made money on every single one of them by
Well,
just
that's
playing
awesome.
the cold weather of New York.
Hmm. Yeah. Old guy on a bike is right. Shaft drive is so awesome. I love the shaft drive. And I'm going with Obi-Wan. No, we don't count the mini bikes because there was too many of them.
I only had one mini bike because it was fine. You just pull it, start it, and rode it for years.
Yeah, my mini bike was a little Honda 50 when I was like 7 or 8, but it was a kickstart, wasn't the pull start.
Oh, I had the pull start,
Yep. And so
and I don't even know what it was. I mean, back then that was the mid to late 70s. I didn't even know what brands were at that point. I just know that
right.
I had a mini bike that I could pour gasoline out of the gas can that was meant for the lawnmower, and away I went.
And away you went. Hey, look, Evil Rick's got you a bike.
What's that?
1984.
Ooh, that's a good year.
It is. What
Hello,
color
Moto
is it,
Photo Jason.
Rick? Um, my 84 was the maroon color, actually kind of similar to the one I have now.
60,000 miles is not bad. I was looking at, I think they average 50,000. There's a couple that are like 85,000, but most of them are near 50. I'm hoping that the guy with the one with only 24,000 miles can get that thing started. And I was kind of worried because when he said it's been up for over a week and now he says the starter's gone, I'm like, when's the last time you ran this bike? It's only got
Right.
24,000 miles. So that kind of makes me worried.
Yeah.
And I still remember my uncle, who was a mechanic and owned a garage for his entire life, always told me it's better to have miles than not have miles on an old vehicle. Nothing,
Okay.
especially motorcycles, are designed to sit there.
Yeah.
So
You want them running. You want things moving.
I am
Uh,
kind of worried it might have been sitting there.
his is the two-tone maroon, which is exactly what I had. God, I love that bike.
I've
And
never seen a two-tone. Let me
you
see
see
something.
the rolling throttle life is here. Hey guys, what's happening? And um, Jason is here. Your favorite Jason from Moto Photo Adventures?
He is my favorite Jason. I love the
I
Moto
know.
Photo Adventures guys. They
Yep.
are three guys that your face will hurt after you spend time with them. They are good friends. You can tell it when you talk to them. And I owe Jason like $15 for parking. So he's a nice guy.
I saw that video. Um, but yeah, rolling throttle life says that he's riding out a storm watching us. Sorry to bore you so much. Uh-oh, what are you doing there now?
So this is pretty much the bike I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
It's it's not a color I would want, but it's clean and they're honestly, it's a stylish bike
It is. Like I
for
said, I
someone
love
my
that look.
age. For someone my age.
I love that look, that boxy look to them back though, back in the 80s, and it's a different style.
Oh no, that I've never even seen one this color.
That's the color my dad's was.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a nice bike. Yeah.
I swear this is all you can get in my area though, is the tan one. You can't get. Oh, here we go. This is what I really want. This is
Oh,
the
that's
barn
older.
find right there. Looks just like that. I think it's an 82, not an 83. Oops, I don't need to look
Redbeard
that.
and Copybook Nano. Thanks all for coming by. Frank and I are just yakking
Oh,
about a
hey,
bunch of
Herman.
random stuff. Oh,
That's what lives are for. Or in my case, it's for answering comments.
right. We did want to talk a little bit about the promoting of ADV bikes. A lot of these folks
Oh,
in here aren't ADV riders, but just real quick, the average ADV guy is our age, and the marketing, they show these guys riding these bikes, and they look so easy, and they're riding these big heavy bikes and tearing it up. I don't know about you, but that's not me.
you know, Patrick, I would like to say that I
Oh, you froze.
am a reasonable. I would like to say that I've had the opportunity to ride with many reasonable off pavement riders. But it irks the heck out of me that they're not marketing bikes for the average mortal man. Like I said to you, there was a video that just came out yesterday, which is like the 1,000th video that says the same damn thing. It's like a big dirt bike.
Yeah,
And I'm trying
you're
to
breaking
figure
up.
out this have broken their collar
Yeah.
YouTube, and they told them that a Tenere was like a big dirt bike. Told them that a 790 Adventure was like a big dirt bike. And then they got out there and went nuts and realized, oh my God, it's nothing like a dirt bike. It has 4 times the power, 5 times the weight, and needs a lot more time to stop because of how heavy it is. As you said, we are the age. You
Hmm.
know, most guys 48 to 60 are who buy these bikes.
Right.
And that will remain that way because let's be honest, who's got the disposable income to buy these bikes before your late 40s?
Yeah, exactly. It's more of like a toy bike. Hey, Finn. Um,
Finn, how are you? Now, Finn rides dirt bikes. He also rides sport bikes,
right.
but he's also young.
And he probably would take a 790 and make it look like a dirt bike.
Well, even I think Finn is getting rid of or got rid of his Tenere soon because it's not quite a dirt bike.
Okay. Yep. CF Moto. Uh, I've always loved the power of the Goldwing. It's been a very smooth power, very low to the ground, smooth power. The 1100, the 1500, and the 1800. I mean, it's not a rocket ship. It's especially not compared to the new ones,
I was
but
gonna
it's
say, can you
got enough
call it
power.
power when it takes that long to get up to highway speed? Is it power or is it just inertia?
I I don't have trouble getting up to speed quickly. Not at all. Those things go. You know, you'll
The
find it when you
last
get one.
the last Goldwing I rode was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a 2001, so the first year of the remodel.
Hmm.
And I gave the guy, can't remember his name, I think it was Bill. I gave him my 390 Adventure, and he out accelerated me. He out accelerated me with 43 horsepower. I was given that Goldwing all it had. And yes, absolutely. This is on I 95 in Florida. I could absolutely trounce the top speed of my 43 horsepower bike, but I could not out accelerate it.
That might have been
It
just
was it
that
was like a
particular.
car. I think this is why I believe this is why I keep accusing you of having a Honda Civic, because it accelerated like a small engine car.
You need to
Perfectly
ride some others.
smooth, perfectly comfortable.
Um, it might have been just that particular Goldwing because
I bet.
they do well. I've never had a problem getting up to speed and getting up to speed quick.
Oh, Finn now has a V-Strom. Oh, that's
Yes,
nice.
I love those 800s. Man, I love those.
I've ridden the 800 twice at 2 different rallies, and they're a nice bike. They're a
Hmm.
really, really, really nice bike.
Yep. The
Yeah, Scott's
Pacific
not wrong. The
Coast.
PC the
Yep.
PC 800 is hysterical.
Yeah, it was that. It's like a gigantic scooter. It was crazy, but yeah, you're right.
Totally wrapped in plastic.
Yep, yep. And you slide your foot right through. Yeah, very nice.
Well, the
Um,
PC 800 is a motorcycle. It's,
yeah, I'm thinking of the Bergman. I think the one where you can just kind of
that's
stick.
yes.
Yeah,
Here you go, Patrick. This is the PC 800. Oh, it's not going to focus, is it? Come on.
yeah. That I know what it is. Yep. Um, yeah, it's like a smaller version of a Goldwing.
This Honda Pacific Coast has been in our area. This guy puts it up for sale every single summer and nobody ever buys it. And it looks brand new. I just think it's a matter of people look at it and go, "What in the heck is that thing?" He
Right.
started at 4,500. This year it's only 2,500.
Wow. Yeah, might be worth getting at some point.
Oh, I don't know. It is completely wrapped in plastic. The PC 800 has so much plastic on it, it makes your bike look like a naked bike. I mean, it is just wrapped 100%. Everything is wrapped in plastic. If you have a chance, Shade Tree Surgeon's niece had one,
I
and they did
remember.
a lot of work on it where they had to take all the plastic off. And it was worth watching just to see how much plastic was on that bike that had to be removed for anything. They
Yeah.
couldn't even check the oil without taking plastic off it. It was funny as heck.
I can't say anything about that because yeah, I have to do the same.
Oh, that's terrible. See, if you had an 84, 85 Goldwing, you could check the oil.
Uh-huh.
Not
But
removing anything.
the panel that pops off to check the oil is it just pops off with your fingers,
And I
no
have to
problem.
admit, I couldn't own a PC 800 or probably even a newer Goldwing because I have snapped at least one plastic fastener on every bike I've ever owned.
Mm, yeah.
I
Knock on wood, I have not
I
a single one.
understand that if it doesn't come off right away, something's wrong, but I managed to break something. On my
Mm.
KLR 650, I broke a fastener for the left fairing. Embarrassing.
Jerry said he's been riding 15 years by the time 1984 came around. That's the year I graduated high school, Jerry.
That is a lot of riding. Holy shoot.
Hmm.
Hey, Jimmy, a dream ride, the Pacific Coast 800 on the Pacific Coast Highway. Honestly,
That
Scott,
would be a great video.
I was on the Pacific Coast Highway for a little bit, and any bike is beautiful out there. Watching the mist over the ocean, oh, just gorgeous.
Oh, I bet.
There
I
are
bet
many
it's
reasons
beautiful.
I wouldn't want to live on the West Coast, but to just ride along the coast, I could be very satisfied doing that all the time.
Hmm. John's here.
Hello, Roger. You haven't missed much. Patrick's just been telling us how fast his Goldwing is and that it accelerates, and I still don't believe him that it accelerates.
No, I can't keep up with him on his Africa Twin, but it will still accelerate
I'm sorry, Patrick, but you just said you can't keep up with an Africa Twin.
on acceleration.
Exactly.
Oh,
If you
his
can't out accelerate an African twin,
his DCT 1100 Africa Twin, that thing is fast.
let me tell you about Swabby on an Africa Twin DCT, Dave O on a 2020 V-Strom 1000, and my 790 Adventure. We didn't even know Swabby was trying to keep up on his Africa Twin. We literally didn't know until people told us later because
Yep.
we took off at a brisk pace and that DCT was back there. And
Yep.
I'll
But
say it, I'll admit it, the V-Strom outran me.
mhm, if
Absolutely.
if I'm on the highway, I will cruise past Roger no problem. But get up and go off of a stop, yeah, his bike is going to take off. He'll get to 60 before I do.
And like I said, when tried to keep his DCT up against a Suzuki and a KTM, we didn't even know he was there. That's the difference in acceleration.
I remember that. I sat back nice and comfortable, and yeah, I waved. Uh,
Jimmy had to move back to Arkansas. But did you get a chance to see the ocean? It is so beautiful. It was too cold to swim in, but the ocean is just so beautiful on the West Coast. All the giant rock, at least the Pacific Northwest, all the giant rock formations. I lived in Florida and I was used to an ocean that was pretty much just flat. And when I had the opportunity to be on, this is gorgeous.
uh, have you seen the NT 1100?
I have not. I don't even know what an NT 1100 is.
Oh, it's a beautiful bike. It's just now going to be coming over here. Um, um, uh, Roger, Finn, help me out. What's it based off of? I can't remember now what they call it over there in England, but it looks like it's going to be a great bike. It's like the Africa Twin, but with fairings, I think.
Oh, wow. It's got a front end that looks like the new Yamaha lights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's supposed to be a nice looking bike.
Hey, look, you can upgrade and check your oil. Oh, that is nice. Wow, this is like, did they hire someone from Yamaha? I'm getting total Yamaha vibes off this. Like to me, this looks like an updated Super Tenere. Though I guess it does have a lot of the. It also looks like the new Honda 500 NX.
Yeah, yeah,
It looks small.
yeah. I think
Like,
Roger nailed it. It's like a sport touring Africa Twin.
yeah, no, that's pretty.
Jim, I bet you have a lot of videos still to edit for that entire summer of travel that you've done.
Editing can be the worst part, the absolute worst part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I did the trip out to South Dakota and back in a week, and I would spend a lot of time editing. He he spent the entire summer traveling from Newfoundland, however you say that, and all the way out to the West Coast and back and
Oh,
around,
wow.
and on that gold wing pulling a trailer. Mm.
I love seeing those on the highway. I absolutely. Oh, hey, John, we missed your hi. I absolutely love seeing you usually got the guy, his wife, and they got the trailer, and they're having the adventure of a lifetime. Absolutely.
Yep, yep, yeah. I actually like editing too, as long as I don't overdo it all at once. You know, I can.
See, I only like to edit when I feel like it, and then I'll do multiple videos.
Right.
I'll take an
Same here.
entire trip and I will knock them all out in one day. But I might get back and wait a month before I have the mood to edit.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's me. It's kind of like filming on the bike. I do the same thing. I'll record a whole bunch on like a day or two, edit a whole bunch on a couple of days, and then the rest of the time I stay away from the editing. I stay away from recording when I'm riding. I put out so many videos, people think I'm recording everything. It's like I probably ride 2/3 with no cameras and 1/3 with cameras.
I record 10% max.
Hmm.
The vast, vast majority of riding, my camera never gets turned on.
Right. Yep. Hey, H.H. Plymouth. Glad you could show up. Uh, anyway,
Never had a bike that could pull a trailer.
I have one, but I, Jimmy, I've been actually going through this process a lot recently. I considered a pop-up camper. I considered a travel, just a storage camper or trailer to pull behind the Goldwing, and just I keep convincing myself that I'm not going to do it, and then I run into something where I'm like, oh, I should. So I can't really help you because I'm going back and forth. Um, Jim from Old Guy on a Bike, he could tell you what it's like. Best trailer to pull behind a bike because he's done it with several bikes. Uh, I think I've completely decided I'm not going to do a pop-up camper, but I haven't ruled out a cargo trailer to pull behind the Goldwing yet.
No, here it is, Patrick. This is what you need. You put this behind the Goldwing. You can go ahead and put Mitchell's sport bike on it, and then you and Mitchell ride 2 up.
That might be a little
A
too close for
motorcycle
comfort.
trailer for a Goldwing. That's ideal.
Now, if I'm going to get one, it's just going to be a small storage one that I can pack extra stuff in because he doesn't have any storage on his sport bike.
Well, there you go. God
Yeah.
knows how much you can put up. Wow, why are these things $3,000? That is a lot. I mean, I've never owned a bike trailer, but that seems like a lot of money.
Well, that
To
one you
just
were looking at folds up. You can put it away in your garage without it taking up a
Oh
bunch
yeah,
of
these
space.
can get crazy. Like I understand why this is $2,300 because look at this thing fold up, but it's $3,000 for a little bitty trailer. That seems kind of pricey.
Yep. I follow so many of the guys that have trailers, pop-up campers that they pull behind all kinds of different bikes. And it looks awesome. And I will do it if Lisa would ever say that she would go camping with me.
This guy wants $1,100. It's been cracked in half. I don't think he's going to sell it. Look
Not
at
if it's
that.
cracked in half.
It literally the top has been cracked in half, and he's repaired it, and it's $1,500.
Yeah.
Or sorry, $1,100.
Roger was looking hard for a motorcycle trailer for a while, and boy, he struggled to find anything that he felt was worth the money that they were asking.
Well, we all like to get the money we put into something, so I'm assuming this guy paid somewhere over $1,100 for this crummy trailer, and then he broke it and figures he can still get his money back.
Right. Yep.
Oh man.
So, anyway, we've been at this for a little over an hour. I'd like to thank
Should never go
everybody
over
that
an
came
hour.
along. What?
We should never go over an hour.
We did. We did. Yeah. It's what happens when people start chatting with each other and getting
That's
carried
the
away.
best part.
Anyway, thank you for coming along. Thanks
Oh,
everybody in the chat
thanks for
for
having
being
me.
here. I really appreciate it. And I think, unless you've got something else you really want to chat about, I think.
Just let people know that Scott will be having a live this Sunday at, is it 8 o'clock Eastern? I believe it's
Yes.
8 o'clock Eastern.
Yep.
And we're both going to stop in and say hi to Scott.
Right. Yep. We're going to be his guest on his first ever live. He reached the threshold to be able to do lives. And if you're still here, Scott, happy birthday. It's his birthday today. And so.
Oh, happy birthday, Scott. If you see this later, if you're not here now.
Yep. He did want to get to that 100 subscribers before his birthday, and he
And he
succeeded.
did.
So
That's fantastic.
congratulations, Scott. And yeah, he is still here. And so we will see you, Scott, on Sunday night at 8 o'clock on his channel, Scott's Moto Adventures. And actually, if we're going to do a quick plug, on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I am going to be a guest on the Content Creators live stream through Support Bikers. They want to talk about the triplets and the videos I do with the triplets. So
Nice.
that ought to be fun. It's like suddenly I'm like 3 lives in 4 days. So
I thought you said create a reality for a second.
no. I would just be going blah 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 blah. I have no idea. He blows me away with that stuff.
Yep.
So,
have a good evening. Enjoy your rally, man. Oh,
I
Scott's
hope
got to
everyone
drive in. That's
has a
awesome.
great night, and we're gonna sign off. Thanks
Take
all
care,
for
guys.
being here. Waiting for a movie to start at the drive-in. There's still drive-ins up there? Wow.
Patrick, there's a drive-in 4 miles from my house in New York. We get people from Massachusetts there all the time.
Oh my gosh, I'm jealous.
All right, take care.
All right, good night.
Does he know how to